And I'm gonna try to break down the show and explain why it is so problematic. So hold on to your butts, because there's a lot of dumb shit.
Hold it! Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Annie Panic Pony, and today I am watching a little bit of a different video. This is a little bit more serious than my usual videos are, and you know me, I like to keep it lighthearted. I like to joke a lot, all that jazz, quirky. But that doesn't mean that I can't be serious. And when I say some things, especially when it's related to these things that I do on my channel that I like to call culturally stuff, then I will speak out about this. And you might have heard about this show called Emily in Paris. This show is a Netflix series. It has been heavily criticized for being majority ignorance and racist. And I haven't personally seen it because I heard a lot about it, and I was like, I am not gonna support a series like that with my time and my money. That's the best way to do it, actually. If you hear about some things, a series, a book, a movie, whatever, and you feel like I cannot support it, stay away from it. That's the best way to do it. But I can absolutely support a video on YouTube trying to explain this even deeper. So I already have a whole lot of opinion about this based on what I already heard, but I thought let's watch this video instead and go from there. And this video is named Emily in Paris Emily in Paris Romanticizing Ignorance. And on the thumbnail it stands, racism is quirky. I saw this video, they came up, recommended for me, and I was like, this is something I would like to talk about on my channel, and it's also something that I could react to, so win-win. Let's watch this video.
Look, I'm not basic.
Okay.
So I watched Emily in Paris, and yeah, it's pretty bad. I think I can say with confidence that Emily in Paris is probably the dumbest TV series I have watched in years. That's coming from someone who watched all 7 seasons of Pretty Little Liars.
Oh, that bad!
People hate this show because of the really inappropriate and inaccurate way it portrays French culture.
Yeah.
Now, that's what immediately piqued my attention, because it just so happens that I'm French, and it just so happens that I am from Paris. So the show's portrayal of my city felt really interesting, and I couldn't wait to see how bad
comes from the horse mouth. That's the best way to do it.
And I'm gonna try to break down the show and explain why it is so problematic. So hold on to your butts, because there's a lot of dumb shit. Or she's supposed to give them an American point of view to help their business. Now, don't look at me. I have no idea what that means either. It's just, just accept it, okay? So she leaves Chicago and makes her way to American girl leaves America, and she's really confused. Now, in essence, that's plot. Major outlets in France have called this show embarrassing, and before watching it myself, I thought people were probably being too hard on it. But now that I've watched it, no, they're right. It's pretty embarrassing. Okay. The creators of the show...
It's amazing, isn't it? The entire city looks like ratatouille.
Ratatouille is a dish. What are you talking about? It portrays French people as a bunch of bumbling idiots, but Americans are portrayed as a people the world idolizes, respects, and even looks up to. The French in the show think Americans are the greatest, and they aspire to be more like them.
That's not true.
French person, you get a scene where one of her co-workers tells her that the reason they've been so rude to her at work is because her American thinking is so next level that it inspires them to work harder, and they think it's intimidating. And I know it sounds like I'm making this shit up, but I promise you it's a real thing.
What did you just say?
I really seem to think that the outside world thinks Americans are fucking superheroes.
We don't!
Biggest problem with Emily in Paris, which is Emily herself. Emily is one of the worst protagonists I have seen in a while, and that's including this guy.
Oh,
she
damn,
is truly awful as a character, and
I suggest you try it.
Maybe you suggest you cook it longer?
You really...
No, come on. The customer is always right. Maybe I'll...
Does she really do not understand what medium cooked means?
Oh yeah, she has sex with an underage kid in this show. An underage kid who is also her friend's little brother. Oh, and if that's not enough, she's also fucking that same friend's boyfriend behind her back.
Wait, what? Okay, sorry, now it was commercial. What?
Flawed characters are all over the place and they can be great. The problem with all of this is the fact that Emily is never presented as being a bad person. The show really wants you to root for her.
This is Paris!
Oh God, you're about to say something stupid, aren't you?
This city is filled with love and romance and light and beauty and passion and sex. Which...
The entire show, Emily tries to teach the French that doing things the American way is the right way to do things. The show even goes as far as implying that doing things the American way will make her coworkers better people outside of their professional lives. Remember when I said this show is an American vanity project? Do you believe me now? And the show doubles down on them. And the only people who aren't mean to her are men who want to fuck her. And I portrayed as an absolute asshole. According to the show, French people are stupid, sexist, racist, disagreeable, lazy, snob, impatient, condescending. They start working at 10:30 in the morning and they still manage to be late. They have sex at work. They all cheat on their partners. They're negligent, they're weird. And the list goes on, honestly. Lily Collins admitted that they kind of dropped the ball and that while the reception of the show was heartbreaking, she believes the criticism will give them a chance to improve in the future. Oh yeah, the show was renewed for a second season, by the way.
Oh my god, it's disgusting.
God gave up on us a long time ago. And he claims, I shit you not, that the show's depiction of Paris is accurate, but it is only a very small and specific part of Paris. Which, buddy, that's not true. Why are you lying to me? Are you a spy? Were you sent by the Americans to infiltrate our culture? Who are you? Who do you work for? Later admitted that the which actually leads me to another one of my biggest problems with Emily in Paris. This show is not funny. And yes, Emily's main love interest in this show is this dude. The spy from earlier. His name is Gabriel, he's a chef, and he's also Emily's neighbor. And their romance doesn't make a lot of sense. The show really needs you to believe that there's a lot of sexual tension between these two, but it never really feels like it, because they never really have candid interactions. Even sequences that have very basic dialogue lack logic. French characters will randomly have full conversations with each other in English for no reason, and sometimes the dialogue just doesn't make sense. Earlier in this video, I said that Emily in Paris also has a huge racism issue. And yeah, I was in parts talking about how they represent French culture, but that's not all of it. So if you've been paying close attention, you probably noticed that this show takes place in Paris. And according to statistics, Paris is one of the 5 most culturally diverse cities in the world. And if you didn't know, there are a lot of cities in the world. So imagine my surprise when I came to the appalling realization that out of its entire cast, Emily in Paris only has 2 characters of color. And saying that these 2 characters of color are entirely made of degrading cliches is the understatement of the century. But first on, it's very important that you keep in mind that all of the racist things she says were written by white writers. And when you remember that while watching, it gets very uncomfortable very quickly.
You can't punish people for their thoughts. I'm from China. We've tried. Frenchmen never get tired of having sex. It's like docking them in a lightning port. I mean, they can't all be mean. Oh, yes they can. Chinese people are mean behind your back. French people, mean to your face. Just go to lunch and maybe avoid anywhere with steak knives. What? Sushi safe. Or anywhere that's Asian. Although if she's mad enough, a chopstick can't puncture skin. Don't ask how I know that. I had my shot and I blew it. No, you get more than one shot, Mindy. In China, you only get one kid. Everything is pas possible. It's the French motto.
This character cannot get through a single. Mindy stands up and starts singing La Vie en Rose by Edith Piaf, which is the most cliché French song you can possibly think of. And that's not even the funny part. The funny part is that people around them stop dead in their tracks because they're blown away by Mindy singing La Vie en Rose. Imagine a French person showing up to America and publicly singing Sweet Home Alabama in the middle of a park where people are just trying to chill. Yeah, Doesn't sound like a cute Saturday afternoon, does it? And he's gay. And that, right there, is all the show is ever interested in telling you about him.
That's it?
He works with Emily, and he's gay.
Okay.
I had to read that he's gay online in an interview with the actor who plays him. The show doesn't even care about him enough to say that much. And the entire point of his existence, we don't even know what his job is. He's always at the office, but we never see him actually doing work. Why are you here, dude? He's just the sassy gay guy. And the writers are so dismissive of him that I'm pretty sure they made him black so they can kill two birds with one stone and call the show inclusive. But
probably
just the only French character who is immediately nice to Emily tells her that she's nice because she grew up watching American shows. I'm actually kind of shocked that a show like this is being made today and nobody batted an eye before it was released. Oh yeah, there's this entire side story where Emily becomes a social media influencer, but halfway through the season that story just disappears and it's never mentioned again. Did I mention she sleeps with an underage kid in this show? I feel like I should mention that again. No joke, I can't really see anyone above the age of 12 enjoying this show. Everything about this show is superficial and just painfully surface level. It has no depth whatsoever. I like my fun guilty pleasure shows, but this is just not it. And I bet you can guess that I'm probably not gonna be watching season 2. I would also be really surprised if the show gets renewed for a season 3. I'll give Emily in Paris 2 out of 10 ninja stars. Go find another show to watch, you're better than this.
Yeah. I clipped it down a little because the video is quite long. I also have it linked down below. First of all, I didn't actually expect laughing in this video, but you do, because it's so damn stupid. Okay. I have already heard a whole lot about bad, like really bad things about this. And I didn't know this before I watched it, but I like that the guy who did this are actually French and know what he's talking about. Appreciate it. It doesn't actually say it's so fascinating that this is even allowed. I mean, I feel like we have come to at least we should have come to a part in society that we can look at things, be 100% honest about that is shit, and that's it, and then it doesn't get to air. I mean, I know this was going to be bad, but I don't know if I even expected it to be this bad. They had only 2 characters of color. I feel like this is, and now we're gonna talk a lot about America and all what is wrong with America. I'm not gonna talk so much about this because we already watched it, but I feel like what is wrong with what America is starting with this to realize is that there are many different versions of racism. Because when you talk about racism, at least in USA, it's pretty much end up being only race. If you're black, if you're Asian, if you're this, if you're white, you cannot be racist, you cannot experience racism, all of these things. And the thing is that, especially in Europe, we have come so much further than this. We have came to, in Europe it's not even like that much talk about color. It's more talk, when we talk racism, we more about talk about being ignorant to culture or countries or people from different parts of the world. Not so much about what your skin is in color, which Americans have used. I don't think they have realized this yet. I think they're starting to now, actually kind of thanks to this area, starting to realize that this isn't okay, that this is racism. And I mean, Emily in Paris, here's the interesting thing also, this is nothing new. This is nothing new in any way at all. But it's actually getting a discussion about it, because this has happened but to other parts of the world, especially the Arabian countries and South America. And they, to be fair, they are even depicted worst. But somehow they have escaped this America so far that no one really have been like, hi, that's not really correct, that's quite racism, that is quite ignorance. That haven't really come to, but I think we sooner or later going to come to that also. But I can see that it needed to be done to a country as France for it to actually be shown and to be seen as an issue. Because I mean, the other places that do this too as well are also very, very It's bad, absolutely. It's really bad. But I can see that it's not getting to be like that big of a deal when they're doing it to like Iraq versus France. Or, I don't know, Chile. I can understand that the France, it gets more attention. And what I kind of... Also, when we talk about how they're doing this to different countries, what I think also can be a big part of this, and which is really one of the things that bothers me, is that when they are doing this, for example, the Arabian countries, they are not representing them well, but they are doing those representation to their enemies. People who they have been in war with, people who they have history behind not liking each other. And I'm not saying that it's okay because of that, but I'm saying it's understandable. But France is one of America's closest ally. They have a history that goes like way back, really way back from the beginning of America. France have, actually pretty much always been there and supporting them. And then America is still doing this? Like, think about, for example, this Statue of Liberty. We all know what Statue of Liberty is. But it's also a gift from France to USA. Statue of Liberty was built in France, shipped over to New York and built up again there. But it's actually France. And Statue of Liberty is one of the most famous buildings in the world, and is one of the biggest symbols of America that they have. And it's from France. France and USA, I'm not saying that this series in any way gonna like destroy their relationships, but I do think it can hurt. Because this is not only this is happening to a certain point to everyone nowadays with America. And Americans apparently, according to this theory, still believes that the world loves them. And the world doesn't love them. The world haven't loved them for years. And there are reasons to that, but I'm not gonna go into all of that because, And, I mean, once again, this is not the only thing they have done this to. I can take another example. I should do a video about it. That is this movie. Midsommar. I know I've talked about this a little bit before on my channel, but I'm gonna go through it fast again. Midsommar is a horror movie about a holiday, a Swedish holiday. I'm Swedish, and I love Midsommar. It's like it's our Thanksgiving. It's our version of 4th of July. It's even it's freaking older than USA itself. It has a longer history than USA has. But still, they are taking this beloved holiday and they make it into a horror movie. And they are disrespecting every single tradition that follows with that holiday. And they are getting away with it. I was actually highly surprised that they were getting away with that as good as they were. And I wish it would have been a discussion about this, but it didn't. But I'm glad at least there are being a discussion now with Emily in Paris. And my gosh, it's getting a one more season. This is wrong, and we need to fight this actually, because this should not be allowed to happen. This is pure up ignorance and pure up racism in its fullest extent. And as I said before, the best way to handle these things is to not watch it. Boycott it. Because if they release one more season and no one watch it, well, first of all, they lose money. Big money. And second of all, there are not going to be any more seasons. And they might also get something to think over for next time. I really like Netflix. It's something that I totally love, and they have been in so many controversies over the years, for example with the movies like Cuties, even other things. And I still love Netflix, I do. Because I think even though they are doing some shit that is just straight up awful, like Emily in Paris, I still believe in some way that they are needed, that they should exist, just because they are so different from every other company. They are doing series that they believe in. If it works or not, that's different. That's a different story. But they are doing stories that no one else would. And there are no rules. And I love that, actually, because many times it actually ends up being amazing. I feel like we need to remember this in Majority, that it, for the most part, end up being amazing. But sometimes, as with this, Emily in Paris, it end up being a shithole. And that's probably not gonna change. I think they're gonna do more series that are gonna be shitholes, or movies like Cuties. I think they're gonna do more of that, and they will meet back. What is the name of it? Backflash. They will meet that. They're not gonna. I mean, Netflix not gonna go away. That's it. They have been around from 2004. They're not gonna go away. But I think that if the people who actually have Netflix and with that also have the power, because that's all the people who have power, they are the ones that is giving Netflix their money. If people who, you and me, who have Netflix say no, you're not gonna watch this because of this and this, then they have no other choice than to listen. And right now Netflix is going down some very weird road that no one really understands, and we will see where that ends up. Hopefully they can learn, but we'll see. The thing is that right now there's not really any other company that can really come there and take their place. Disney Plus have done a pretty good job with it, but even them, they are not getting up to those numbers as Netflix have. HBO is not even closed at this point, so there are no one that really can take their place. So far, I think we need to, or we not need to, but we should keep on watching, but be clear what is okay and not. Because that's really the only way to fix the issue. That's the only way. But it was very interesting to watch this video. Like I said, I had heard a whole lot of things about this series before and decided then not to watch it because, like, I'm not supporting this. But I think it's very interesting, and I would like to talk more about things like this because I think it's some things that should be talked about. But this is all for this video at least. Thank you so much for watching this, and if you happen to like it, give it a thumbs up. And if you want me to keep on talking of things like this, I could definitely do that. Like I said, I like to keep my channel lighthearted, but that doesn't mean I cannot talk about heavier topics as well. So, see you next time. Bye!